This is today's project, a tall dresser that I purchased at a garage sale for $20 2.5 years ago. And it has sat in storage because I have not felt motivated to work on it because it is so dated. Yuck. It has a laminate top, and I was getting ready to just list it for $20 to recoup what I put into it. So I pulled it out to take some pictures, and I realized it's a Bassett. Let's see if it's worth my time to restyle this quickly and without a lot of resources. I have in the past removed the metal back panel of the handle and just reused this part just to save some money on a project. The problem I had was that I noticed that without the protection of this back metal part, wherever this handle here came in contact with the front of the drawer, it would make an indentation. But look, there's not much contact happening here, and I think it's because these little prongs are working properly by preventing there to be full contact. So I'm going to take this off, and then I will reinsert this handle and see if much contact is made between this part of the handle and the drawer front. And the easiest way I have found to do this is to use bolt cutters or metal snips, and you cut right up to that little round circle, and it releases these little balls, which then release the handle. See? Okay, I'm gonna go on the other side. You have to be a little careful because these metal corners that you've created can sometimes get sharp. But see, this pops right out and it releases that. See? Isn't that cool? So now let me remove that part too. There we go. So now you have the handle and the two white parts. So let's reinsert it over here and see if that works. And then, oops, I cut myself cooking today, so bear with me. I'm gonna slip that part on, insert it, and put that in there. See? So that doesn't make much of a contact with the front of the drawer. Yeah, I'm gonna reuse these like that. All I need to do is put all the handles into a boiling pan of water and vinegar. That'll take all the paint off, and we'll see what it looks like underneath. Isn't that outstanding? There we go. I found some extra trim in my stash that I thought would be a better alternative for that area.
Did you put that in?
Yeah, just now.
It looks perfect.
You like that?
Is this enough to salvage, or is that just
Oh yeah, that's
laminate?
just laminate. I'll have to sand and then paint it. But yeah. I started scraping that extra paint off the top with my carbide scraper. It was very easy to do since this was painted poorly on top of a laminate surface. There were a lot of areas where there was paint splattered, but I stopped the image here because I wanted to show you how much particle board the construction of this dresser is. I mean, look at that. Some of the areas had some pretty big drips that I hand sanded with sandpaper, and then I went back to my rotary sander. You can see the brushstroke marks here. And when I paint on top of that, you're still going to see them. So I'm sanding them smooth because I cannot stand brushstroke marks. This is where those marks were that I've now smoothed away to reveal the paint underneath. So I'm busy right now sanding the sides smooth to get rid of all those. Any laminate surface is super shiny and you need to scuff sand it in order to create some micro scratches in it for the primer and the paint to better adhere to. I noticed something weird about the drawers when I was working on them the other night. Whoever had them previously painted this part and then painted up the sides, and I think it looks horrible. Now, and see, look, what were they thinking? Now this is that press board. So if I were to do anything as far as painting this, I would have to spray it first with an oil-based paint or primer, not water-based, because water-based will get soaked up in that press board. But I need to do something because I think that looks terrible, terrible, terrible. At this point, I had decided I was going to market this piece for a nursery. So I figured it would be a good idea to reattach that scalloped bottom because I think that suits a nursery pretty well. Now this time around, I did take out my pneumatic brad nailer. I knew that the curved edges of this trim were going to be a little bit tricky, and I figured I needed the added strength of that pneumatic pressure. Now I was getting ready to start priming the piece when I thought it might be a good idea to take some shellac and spray the areas that I had sanded all the way down to either wood or some of this I think is pressboard too, or some sort of particle board, especially the really dark areas. I'm not so sure that's wood, so I think it's really important to seal all of that with an oil-based product like this shellac, so that when I do apply paint that's water-based, that moisture from the paint won't swell those fibers. This primer is fantastic. I used to feel that only an oil-based primer like Zinsser shellac-based primer would be good for something like a laminate top, but this water-based primer is fantastic, and I can use it in my sprayer since it's easy to clean. After that first coat of primer dried, I did lightly sand it with a high grip pad. I wiped off the excess dust, and then I sprayed a second coat. And I had used up the last of that white primer, which is why you see me using the tinted primer that I typically use when I'm using a dark paint on top. But tinted primer, white primer, it's all the same thing. Bad weather was rolling in the day that I was determined to start spraying the actual paint. So I put the dresser under the back porch and started to spray the paint there. Now I'm trying to use up paint that I've started accumulating down in the basement. This is a color called Interesting Aqua, and I used it on this cabinet. Gosh, was that 1 or 2 years ago? I don't recall. That was a really, really fun project. I'll put the link below in the description if you want to check that out too. But Interesting Aqua is a perfect color for a nursery. I did end up putting on 2 coats of paint with a light sanding in between coats. Now, just a reminder, guys, and for those of you not familiar with my channel, all proceeds from my furniture sales and that I make off of YouTube go directly to paying off the principal of our mortgage. Kevin and I are getting very close to having it paid off, which is so exciting because it's the first step in preparing to retire. So any love you can show me would be greatly appreciated. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. Give me a thumbs up here and leave me a comment below and let me know what you think about this project. What I'm learning is that not all Bassett furniture is created equally, because this one with all the particle board is not high quality. It's a high quality name, but not, in this case, high quality construction. I've done my best to scrape off that paint, to sand off that paint, but this is particle board. And that's about as good as it's gonna get. I will be putting a pretty wallpaper on the bottom of the drawer. Just can't keep spending time on this. It's not a high quality dresser, so I can't sell it at a high quality cost. And I'm tired of putting time and effort into it. In just a moment, I'm going to show you how much I put into the dresser, what I sold it for, and the profit. So, keeping in mind that this was not a very high quality piece, leave me a comment below as to whether you feel it was worth it. Now, before I show you the after pictures, let's take one more quick look at what this dresser looked like when I first started working on her.